or do not unite. When the two forces of the world, physical and spiritual, unite, there's harmony, there's peace, there's love, there's acceptance. But when they do not come together, then we have conflict, and we have war, and we have sadness and sorrow. Avram Avinu, with his two children, was not able to take his two kids and make them into one entity or one unity. They had to be separate. Ishmael had to be driven out of the house. His culture, his way of life is the opposite of what Avram Avinu stands for. And therefore, it was clear to us, in Ishmael, what was dominating? The material side of life. As opposed to Yitzchak, the dominating character trait was the spiritual side of life. So Avram did not merit the unity of the two. It's understandable. His wife, Hagar, comes from Egyptian culture. That has an impression upon the infant growing in the womb. And we're told that Ishmael is a wild man. Now, we're learning about our second patriarch, Yitzchak Avinu, and the hope is that in this home, the two sons that are now told to Rivka in this prophecy, they're going to be delivered from two wives or one wife? Two mothers or one mother? One mother, Rivka. Rivka, of course, is a righteous woman. In spite of the fact that she's a righteous woman, the Torah emphasizes who her father is, who her brother is. The Arami, obviously the country called Aram. But we said yesterday that it has the same letters as Ramai, a cheat, a deceit, a liar. It's part of that culture. So it's very possible that in the womb of Rivka, there could be some sort of nucleus, an atom of someone that will be deceitful, someone that will be evil, someone that will be a liar, a cheat. Now, if this does happen, and she's seeing in the prophecy, they're going to be different. Okay? They're going to be very different coming out of your womb. In the house of Avram Avinu, there's a mother, a separate mother for that son. But here, you're not going to be able to drive out a child with the mother, because she will also be the mother of the righteous one, Rivka. So here, we have a conflict that will be going on. We put on the board yesterday, Verav Yavod, what was the next word? It's inside your Chumash. It's inside Pasuk Kaf Gimel, in the end of 23. Verav Yavod Za'ir. We said yesterday, the word et, the preposition et, does not appear. And therefore there are two interpretations. Either the younger will serve the older will serve the younger. But there's no doubt that we're talking here about a clash. We're talking here about a future conflict, as we started learning yesterday, as they come out of the womb as well. And now is the conflict going on in the womb. Vayitrotzatzu, there was a conflict. In other words, the spiritual essence of these two children already is visualized by God to Rivka in a prophecy that explains why there's Vayitrotzatzu, this running, going on, this competition. When they're going to be growing up, they're not going to be able to settle their lives together, as we saw here in the Parsha. My friends, I wanted to ask you something. We started learning about the redness of Esav in Pasuk Kafei 25. Vayitzei Rishon Admoni. You all have read, I assume, you've gone ahead in the Parsha. You know that someone buys the Bechorah. Someone buys the Bechorah. Who will buy the Bechorah? Will buy the Bechorah from Esav. When the first is born in Pasuk 25, notice what the Torah says, and please notice what the Torah does not say. It says, Vayetze Harishon Admoni. Harishon. Which word did the Torah choose not to write? Bechor. Isn't that interesting? I saw that by my father-in-law. The Torah abstains from writing that Esav is the Bechor, the firstborn. There must be a reason. Let's get back to his redness. Admoni. Okay? Kulo. He's so reddish, so matured. Vayikra shmo Esav, and as we learned, when Yaakov comes out in Pasuk 26, V'achrechen yatza achiv, and he has a hand on him. V'yado achezet ba'akev Esav. He doesn't allow Esav to go far in front of him. He's on his footsteps. He's on his heels. Okay? He's following him. There's going to be competition, a conflict. And then we're told that Yaakov Avinu calls the name Esav. Vayikra, Yaakov. Vayikra Shemo Yaakov. Yaakov is called his name by the father Yitzchak. Why? What is this symbolizing? That his hand is on the heels of his brother. His brother could do terrible things in this world. The Esavian world, the Christo-European, North American, Western world can talk ideals and love and sympathy, yet, like we said yesterday, the bloodiest century, the last century in world history. Terrible things can happen. Yaakov knows, this is the symbolism, Yaakov knows that you can't give Esav what he wants all the time in life. And therefore, he may use his talents, his technological knowledge, his knowledge of the material world to really hit the spiritual world and cause problems. And that'll be the conflict between the Judean Christian world. How often we were not given the right of liberties religiously in many European countries during the time of the Crusaders and thereafter. So we're seeing and learning here is about an upcoming conflict. We finished the ending, the Pasuk Kavav, when we learned that Yitzchak is 60 years old when he's giving birth, and we asked ourselves, what is the significance of this Pasuk that he's 60 years old? What answer did we give? One answer is what? Why did he get what?
It shows that he and Rivka had to struggle to have children.
That's one struggle. So it shows he's the house of Avram. God chooses to test his dear ones. What else? The fact that he only married at the age of 40 and got a child at the age of 60. He didn't agree to take a shivcha. He's very holy. He didn't want to take another woman like his father. He's not fit for that. Remember when he wanted to, we're going to see this again in the Parsha, when he wants to go abroad as if during the time of a famine, he will not be allowed to do it. He's so holy. And olat timima, he's like a burnt offering, he's like something so holy. Now, let's learn about the growing of these two in Pasuk Kaf Zayin and see if we notice a pattern about each. Vayigdelu ha-ne'arim. I understand when you're a na'ar, you're about to be of age of obligation. Okay, it's very good that you have a chumash and not just a tanakh to see the psukim more and better. This gentleman, is there another chumash on the table? Linear? No. I would use that. It'd be much easier for you to use it, but much easier to learn than what you have there. Vayigdelu ha-ne'arim. If they were a na'ar and now they're a gadol. A gadol means of age of responsibility, 13 and up. And now let's notice the differences. Vayi Esav, he's an ish. Even if he's a young teenager, he's already like a mature man. Yodea tzayid. He has par excellence in a profession of hunting. Hunting has vast meanings. You can hunt an animal, for food. You can hunt men. You could be cunning. You could be cheating. You're a very sharp person. So here already at the age of 13, maybe it was not noticed beforehand, but is noticed now when they're maturing. These two boys are going to be identified as having different natures, different character traits, different tendencies. For instance, Yodea Tzayid. He could mean a murderer, a killer as well. It could mean cunningness, to cheat people. He hunts down people. So here we see that in spite of the fact that these two kids are coming from the same Abba and the same Ima, namely lichor, the same educational treatment, yet Esav is turning out to be very, very, very different. He knows, as Rashi says, tzayid, to deceit, to be deceitful. Okay, and he knows how to hunt down animals. As you know, to hunt down animals, you have to be deceitful. You have to be trapping them, entrapping them, be cunning, and so on and so forth. He has a very sharp tongue. He knows how to talk himself out of situations if he gets in trouble. Okay, he's very sharp and cunning with his tongue. He's a doer. He's a man of the field. A field? What are the laws in the field or in jungle? There are no laws. Everything is like hefker, ownerless. You do what you want to do, when you want to do it. He's an ish sadeh. So here we see the physical matters of Esav, the pragmatic side of life, the thirst for trapping, for hunting down. It could be the thirst for blood as well. What's deep down inside the heart and soul of Esav will be later revealed in nations that come from the Esavian personalities. So as far as we're talking, what is emerging here, the archetype type of personality, we're saying the physical, pragmatic, maybe the scientific, tilling the soil, he's a man of the field. He will develop the physical world, maybe the technological world. In contrast, as you see, the Torah paints a contrast. V'Yakov, ish tam. We said yesterday tam from the word
perfect.
Tamim. He looks for wholesomeness, completeness. What he thinks is what he says. What he says is what he thinks. Okay? He's a sitter. Not that he's not a doer, but he's sitting in a tent. He is probing, thinking, contemplating. How to improve the world as far as values are concerned. How can we become better people? Ishtam Yoshev Oalim. And therefore his business, ideologically, as the Midrash will say, he's sitting in the tent of Torah. I know Torah wasn't given. But the values of mankind until now, the 7 Noachite laws, the belief in God, the need to be doing goodness in the world, meaning giving of yourself, not taking, that is his art. That is the quality of Yaakov, Yoshev Olim. His business is values, ideals, ideology. So here we see clearly two different people. Now, what does it mean for the parents? I want to test all of you right now in verse 28. It says in Kafchet, Vayahav Yitzchak et Esav ki tzayid befiv, v'Rivka ohevet et Yaakov. Do you understand? Is it that one parent loves this son and another parent loves that son? Is that how you understand this, gentlemen? Is that what it says? Notice, read the pasuk again. Notice the tenses of the verbs. Vaye'ehav Yitzchak et Esav ki tzayid befiv, v'Rivka ohevet et Yaakov. What's different in the first part of the pasuk and the second part if we're analyzing? If you want to see what is the Torah leading us to understand, what do we notice? What do you notice?
The first ohev is past tense.
Vaye'eha, very good. Yitzchak loves Esav, and there's a reason why. Ki tzayid befiv. Okay? Esav serves his father. How does he serve his father?
Giving him food.
Feeds him, brings him food, and he's providing him food. And for that reason, there's a special love because of the serving of the father. May I ask you, do you think he doesn't love his other son? Yitzchak is a man of spirituality, a man of belief of God, of awe in God. You don't think he sees that Yaakov is sitting in the koilel, is learning Torah as if, right? The tent of values. Do you not think that Yitzchak loves Yaakov? Let me ask you something. What is simple, the Torah doesn't have to tell us. Do you think it's simple that Yitzchak has a love and affection for his son Yaakov? Yes or no? So what is the novelty of the words Vayehav Yitzchak et Esav? It's as if we're putting a word af. Vayehav et Esav. The Torah may be written in the style afilu, meaning Yitzchak loves, in addition, even Esav. Of course he loves Yaakov. He has the spiritual character traits. But you know what? He has a special love for the son, Esav, because the son is honoring his father. He's bringing him food, bringing him this, bringing that. And therefore, his love is like, well, he's serving him. He's giving him nachat. Is that what it states by Rivka? It states by Rivka, Rivka ohevet et Yaakov. Ohevet et Yaakov. Do you not think that she loves Esav? Of course, it's her son. A mother loves her son. But maybe there's special love and affection to Yaakov. Why? Why? What do they both see in these kids that are now 13 and 14 years old?
Maybe because Rivka sees that Esav is coming from the lineage of his father, like very deceitful, and maybe Yaakov is very amazed because he saw Yaakov praying, and this is the same as his father.
That's one point.
And Yitzhak was blind, so he couldn't really...
Right now, we don't see that he's blind. That will happen later. Look, the love is different. The love of the father to Esav is something dependent upon something temporary, that he's feeding his father, something physical, something belonging to the material world. We call that something incidental, something superficial. Where Yaakov, who's sitting and learning Torah in the tent, okay, he didn't have the time or the ability, some of the commentators explain, to serve his father. Esav was a hunter who was in the field every day. Now, it says Rivka ohevet. Which tense? Present tense. Very important to learn Hebrew. Meaning, ohevet all the time. And not only ohevet all the time. It's a continuous type of love that she loves Yaakov for who he is, because he's the one sitting in the tent of Torah. He's the one that has these values, the ideals, the great belief. Now let me ask you something. Who received the prophecy? Rivka. And she knows that because of this prophecy, they're going to be separate. One will be stronger, the other will be weaker. When the one that's weaker will be stronger, what does the mother know, Rivka? Who does she think and know who will be the builder of the house of Avraham Avinu and the house of Yitzchak Avinu? It's clear to her that it's going to be Yaakov. I mean, she sees, she heard, and she knows this. She sees the character traits. Okay, she knows that two are going to be two opposites. So she sees the kids growing up. She sees the field, the profession, the cunningness, the sharpness, the tongue, the ability to cheat or deceive is in Esav. And the question will be on Yitzchak. He doesn't see that in his son, Esav. It's obvious that the love that Rivka has for Yaakov, because she has a deep observation. She's looking and seeing the objective, right? I don't need Esav to serve me as well. I can provide. I'm a cook. A mother. She can provide for a husband and for kids. And therefore, it's continuous love that she has for Yaakov. Now, let's talk about the two parents. Could it be that Yitzchak sees that Esav could be the builder of the Jewish people? Look, it could be. We started speaking about that briefly yesterday. And it could be that Mr. Yitzchak sees, wow, to build a nation in the future, you need physical, material tendencies, abilities, talents. You have to build a country. You have to plow fields, provide food and services. Maybe the future of the Jewish people might be built from both of them. Ibar Ben El says this point, if I'm not mistaken, that Yitzchak sees in Esav great tendencies, great abilities. Okay, he's cunning, he lies here and there, but maybe we can use for the future digital technology that he's going to bring into the world, Esav. The Jewish people will need it. Imagine, you press one button, and in the silo, 1,000 kilos of flour drops. Water goes into the bin, and within 20 minutes, you have 4,000 loaves of bread. Wow. Yaakov Avinu sitting in the kollel learning Torah day and night is not going to know how to technologically get to a bread factory and press a button and do this. But if Yaakov can go to the store and buy a loaf of bread in 2 minutes, without harvesting, without kneading, and have it even sliced. Today you can even buy sliced bread. Once upon a time in Israel, you bought a whole bread. They were not sliced. You had to take it home or go to a machine and have it cut. Okay? Does nobody think this is the Philippines? Huh? No, it's not like that. It could be that Yitzchak sees there's a need for someone like Esav to be the physical builder, the technological builder of the upcoming Jewish people. So right now, Yaakov doesn't like the tendencies of Esav. And Esav doesn't like what Yaakov is interested in. Where do we see this coming into action? Right now. Pasuk Kaftet. Verse 29. Vayazed Yaakov Nazid. The Targum, the translator, Onkelos, the great Tzedek, says the word Vayazed means, and he cooks, uvashel. We haven't seen this word in the Chumash before. Yaakov's cooking. Isn't that interesting? You would think his mother's cooking. Good question, why is he cooking? He's cooking a nazid, a cooked matter. Vayvo Esav min hasadeh. Esav arrives from the field. I assume that he had a long day. He was hunting. He had to slaughter animals. It's a tiring day. And he says he's tired, vu ayef. And Rashi says he's tired from murdering. Whether it's the simple meaning murdering people, or he has murdering character traits, and he's tired. Okay? We see now this episode between the two brothers. Notice the tenses, please, as we go on in verse 30. Vayomer Esav al Yaakov, haliteni na min adom adom hazeh. The word haliteni is not, with, good British manners, sitting at the table with a spoon and a fork and a plate. Rather, haliteni is an animalistic verb, like pour it down my throat. Okay? Why? Ha'adom ha'adom hazeh. Apparently this cooked matter were red. It was red. And from there we get the word nazid adashim, which we will see later, red lentils. Okay? Nazid adashim. We'll see later here. So here, quickly, why does it say hadom, hadom? When you're really hungry or really thirsty, so sometimes you might be repetitive. Give me that red stuff. Come on, I'm starving. Okay. By the way, when you come home tired to your wife and dinner is not ready, don't scream at her. Don't say, "Why did I marry you?" You didn't marry her so that she prepares dinner. You married her that she become your partner in life, that she help raise your children, that she sends you to the Beit Midrash. Okay? It took me a while to understand that. When I would come home after a long day, okay, this is like 25, 30 years ago, and I see the house is a balagan, the Lego sits all over, dirty diapers here and dirty diapers there. That's what's going on. She says to me, "What do you think, you're coming home to a museum?" She put me in my right place. It's not a museum. There's life here. There's children. There's life. There's babies and this and that. She only has 2 hands. Right? Do you also have 2 hands? I see. Okay? It took me a while. Okay? You think you're supposed to come home, red carpet, ta-da, and dinner's ready. What? You have children at home. There's this, there's balagan. That's life. Okay? Baruch Hashem. Haliteni na min adom hazeh ki ayef anochi, al ken kara shmo Edom. You might think that this is mere incidents, but from the supervision of God, this man will be called in the future, in the books of prophets, Edom. Why?
That seems Edom talks about, there's multiple words in it. There's like blood, there's man, there's earth, there's like physicality.
That's right. His nature and redness. Redness is also super maturity, great blood circulation in the body. The human body will be able to work and function so well. In other words, the name Adom, the color Adom, is part of his inner nature. The Midrash Rabbi even says, and I'm quoting it to you right now, Hu Adom, he's reddish. Artso, his land, is Aduma. Do you know where Edom is in the biblical map?
The Rome?
South. When we go down to the Dead Sea Eilat Road, we're now coming on the east side, the Edomite Mountains. And one of the most beautiful places, but right now it's in Jordan. What is it called? Petra. And what's special about Petra, Zachariah? It's very reddish. Right. Okay? Several of my kids in their high school years, they're very daring. They went on organized tours with high school kids their age, and they hired Jordanian cab drivers, Jordanian tour guides, so they can see some of these beautiful places. It's really part of the land of Israel. Okay, but right now in the German is. So the Midrash Rabbah says he's red, his land is red, and his clothing is red, and even his food is reddish. And in a more deeper sense, the Maharal of Prague, one of the great thinkers of the Jewish people a few hundred years ago, explains in the book called The Eternity of Israel, Netzach Yisrael, chapter 17, that the force of Esav, the power, the tendencies, the light, his great powers, he belongs to the Shemesh, to the sun. The physical, external, superficial world, the world that's visible to the eye, he gets his power from the sun, the physical power, not something that's related to spiritual powers. So this episode that he wants to eat this red food is a major event. It's part of his essence. Vayomer Yaakov says to his brother, Michra chayom et bechorat chali. Michra. Sell me. Sell me what? Today. Sell me today. Meaning, some say it means immediately. Or kayom. It's the truth. A full and complete sale. The bechorah. We have yet to understand the word bechorah. Yes, bechorah comes from the word bechor. Yosef, Close your eyes. Spell for us the word Bechor.
Bet, Kaf, Vav, Rav, Rish.
Resh. And if you want, you can write it without the Vav. Bechor. Okay? Bechor. We know that Am Yisrael is nicknamed as a nation, my firstborn. God's first prophecy to Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm appointing you at the sneh, the burning bush. Go and take my nation out. Beni Bechori Yisrael. God refers to his nation as Beni, my son. Bechori, my firstborn son. The nation of Israel is his firstborn, and he's called Yisrael. There's a Bechor who's physically born first, and there's something else called the Bechorah. We must explain what it is. What is a Bechorah? Bechorah is a spiritual title, spiritual obligations and privileges. Whoever will have the Bechorah, on the one hand, he will be getting special privileges from God, but he will have a lot of obligations to be serving God. Bechorah is a spiritual title. We're not talking about the position that you were born first. Rather, the obligations and the leadership that a Bechor has. Esav, the fact that he's born first, yet the Torah abstained from calling him Bechor, he has the rights, the spiritual rights and obligations of the future leadership of the world spiritually. Spiritual obligations. Yaakov says, I would like to have it. Why does Yaakov say, I want to have it? Because it's fitting to me. And he knows his brother, he's not interested in it. Sell it to me. Sell the Bechorah to me. Now, do you think Esav cares for the spiritual obligations and leadership of the world? He's interested in now food, externalism, superficiality, shopping centers, bridges, markets, future markets. That's what he's interested in. Science, archaeology. Do you think he's interested in ethical monotheism, values of the world? What does he care? Everything will sanctify the ends. If I have to lie and I want to make money, so I'll lie. If I want to become a scholar and I have to cheat on my test, the most important thing is I'm successful in the end. Okay? So he says, sell me the Bechorah. What does Esav respond and say? Pasuk Lamed Bet 32. Vayomer Esav, Hine behold, Anochi holech lamut. Velama zeli Bechorah. Do you think he means, I'm going to die now? Anochi holech lamut.
This is pertaining to...
It could mean simple meaning that I'm hungry now. If I don't eat, I'm going to die. But I think there's a deeper meaning. What do you think he's talking about? Eventually, I'm going to die. My physical presence will perish. What do I have to deal with the spiritual world? I don't believe in what? Life after death. I don't believe in the neshama, the soul, going on and on. Okay? What do I have to, my trade, or you could say another meaning, the Rashbam says it, I have a very dangerous trade in life. I'm a hunter. Okay? Hunting is a very dangerous trade. I'm in the forest, there are lions, there are bears, they can attack and kill me. Why should I take a change in my way of living? Okay? I'm not interested in the spirituality of the world, obligations. I'd like to get privileges, but not obligations. But we know it's a two-way street. That's how we have to teach our children. Our Jewish children that we have to teach, there are privileges in life, but there are obligations in life. Okay? There are obligations in life. We have to serve God. We have to give of ourselves, our resources, our energies. Okay, the dialogue continues going on, gentlemen. The Bechorah is related to the future. I mean, remember, the spiritual life has yet to be given. Torah at Sinai is yet to be given. Okay? That's going to be in the future, hundreds of years. If not, what do I need this? Vayomer Yaakov hishavali kayom. Hishavali. He knows that his brother is has a quick tongue. He could say something today and say, no, I never said that. Therefore, what does he ask of him? Hishavali. Swear to me, meaning that you'll never renege on the sale. Okay? There are people that, okay, I'll give you the sale, but I never meant it to be forever. Okay? Politicians use these words. Okay, I know that I promised you, but I didn't mean to promise you forever. Okay? Hishavali. Swear to me. Okay? Now, Hishavali kayom vayishavalo, so he swears to him, meaning that he will never appeal. The Netziv legend says, I will never appeal this in the world. The sale is a sale, vayimkor et bechoroto liYaakov. Notice the verb, vayimkor. He sells the bechorah, the spiritual rights to Yaakov. Does it say that he sold it for the soup or for the food? Does it say that, yes or no? No. Notice the verbs again. Vayishav in this pasuk. Vayishavalo, he swore to him. Vayimkor. Remember, Tanachic verbs have the vav in front of them. Yes or no? Okay. If that's the case, please read the next pasuk, which is the finale of this passage, pasuk Lamed Daled, verse 34, and tell me if you notice something different.
There's a lechem, it's not part of the deal. That's
okay, that's yours. You're noticing lechem is mentioned here, didn't mention it before. I'm asking you more about verbs here. It says Vayochal, and he ate, Vayesht, and he drank, Vayakom, and he got up, Vayelach, and he went away. And then Vayivez Esav, he couldn't stand the Bechorah. But I purposely skipped over a different verb.
You could say Vayitem.
Oh, did you prepare this here? Do you want to sit over here? Smart Alec. It says in the first opening three words of the pasuk, V'Yaakov Natan le'Esav. The classic way of writing a verb, which would mean that it's happening now, would be the vav in front of the verb. That's how the Bible writes it, correct? Vayitain, Vayarotz, Vayochal, Vayesht, Vayakom, Vayelech. But here it says, V'Yaakov Natan le'Esav. I don't know if you're aware, but there's Christian doctrine in the world that criticizes the Jewish people and Yaakov, that for a cheap dish of soup or red lentils, he held up and didn't give to his own brother until his brother swore to him that he's not going to renege on this deal. Not true. When his brother asked for food, he gave it to him right away. Proof. V'Yaakov Natan le'Esav. He already gave it to him. The Torah changed the style of the verb. I don't know what it's called in it. Is it called past perfect? I forgot what it's called in English. Is there something called past perfect?
Yeah, it's two actions that happened in the past. Past perfect is the first action.
No, what is a further past?
Past perfect.
So maybe that's called. So in Hebrew, did it call it avar mukdam or something?
Could be.
I don't know what it's called in modern day Hebrew.
The previous action.
Yes. So this is some of the commentators point to this here. V'Yaakov Natan le'Esav. When did Matayu Natan? Before this happened. Before this deal happened. No, the deal was not a plate of soup or a dish of lentils for the Bechorah. No. Yaakov, Esav sold the Bechorah. It doesn't say for what. And Yaakov bought it. When did Yaakov give food to his brother? Earlier. How is that proven? V'Yaakov Natan. He gave him the Nazir Adashim even before the negotiation. Why? Because he's a brother. He's a brother. We see this point. Otherwise, the Torah should have stated, Vayitain. Vayitain Yaakov. So, gentlemen, Yaakov, we don't know if he's 14, 15, or 16. It's clear that they have different aspirations. They're going to lead two different ways of life. Yaakov now buys the Bechorah, which are the spiritual rights. Esav is interested in food. Yet, when we learn about the episode in this parsha, we don't see that Yaakov has or received the slightest advantage. We learn later at the end of the parsha, and we learn later that Esav turns into a powerhouse. He turns into princes. He becomes nations. We learn about that later on in the book of Breshit. Okay, and Esav becomes a rich prince, while when Yaakov has to flee from his brother, he is slaving as a shepherd for Lavan's sheep. Rav Shimshon Frolhurst explains in his commentary. Okay, he's only interested in spiritual leadership. So here it is, Yaakov and Esav are standing as opposites. And throughout the centuries, we notice that as well. Yaakov would gladly give up his material possessions to Esav, who runs greedily after them. Halavai that Esav would have allowed Yaakov to attend his spiritual mission of life, but we've gone through so many pogroms and so many blood libels, ending with the Holocaust. And now the Islamic world is trying to convince the Christian world and the Western world that we are the aggressors, we are the terrible people. As you saw in London, there was 1 million Muslims that started getting very wild at the end of their protest. So too in New York and in Miami, smaller protests. And I think this is a great thing. We're happy that the Western world is seeing what's happening. And the estimation is that within 10 years or 20 years, the Muslim world in Europe is going to double their population. And that means the British and the French and the others have to open up their eyes and see what's going on here. The war that we're fighting is such a justified war. We're fighting for France. We're fighting for England. We're fighting for the goodness of mankind. It's not just our war. It's the war of light against darkness. And therefore, any decent Christian nation has to understand that they should be interested in supporting us. Supporting us. Okay. This gives us this understanding, and we'll continue with the next point.